So there's a lot of people on the left who are very excited about Mamdani getting the Democratic nomination for the mayorship in the city of New York. And now he's running, and he has prominent opponents, and some other not so prominent ones. Was it Sliwa, whatever, the guardian angel guy who's, you've got Eric Adams, the incumbent, who's running as an independent, who is jockeying for a position in the Trump administration, and Donald Trump's administration dropped the charges against him, basically making Eric Adams his little bitch. So there's no way why anybody should be voting for Eric Adams to be mayor of New York City at all, unless you're supporting Donald Trump. Then you got Cuomo, with his, multiple accusations against him as it pertains to his activities with adult grown women. And, enough people have come forward to talk about him and tell us what he did terribly, whatever, to we should reject him, or the citizens of New York should reject him, at least, after all. And then there's Zohran Mamdani. And one thing Zohran Mamdani did that I don't necessarily like is I don't like the term globalize the intifada, because when you talk about intifada, it brings up ideas in the minds of Jewish people about that it's not just the struggle that the Palestinian people are dealing with, because intifada literally means struggle. It's not just that, it's also the fact that, there's a lot of anti-Semitism that goes on in the hatred of Israel. And this is not to say that all hatred of Israel is anti-Semitic. I have been very openly critical on this show multiple times about why I feel that the Israeli government has committed war crimes, how Netanyahu should be dragged in front of the Hague, how, regardless of the wrongs that Hamas has done, Israel has done so much wrong that you're killing people to gaslight people into thinking that there's no famine going on in Gaza. That's stupid. It's ethnic cleansing, or proposed ethnic cleansing, to suggest that they should move all of the Palestinians from Gaza to the South Sudan. All those things that, Jewish people should know better about. And if Netanyahu is a Jewish person, and he should know better, but he doesn't. So he hasn't learned from our collective history, so to speak. However, that doesn't stop individuals from on the left, and I consider myself to be a leftist. I mean, there are leftists who would be like, pish posh, you call yourself liberal, Dan. If you're a liberal, you can't be a leftist, because these people are more worried about labels than actual policies that people hold. And these people also are willing to shoot themselves in the MFing foot when it comes to politics, causing us to lose elections and allow fascist dictators, or wannabe dictators, wannabe kings, to take control and take the wheel, so to speak. So this one TikTok user, I Am Blakeley, whatever, has a little rant because Mamdani was on Al Sharpton's show, and she had a couple of things to say about this, and we're going to get to why this is not just Israel criticism. It's them, again, shooting themselves in the foot because they can't handle it if you're not 100% pure in their minds. Now, granted, you got 6 different leftists in a room. You have 17 different versions of what being pure is. So, that being said, let's watch what this person has to say, and I'll get your opinion as to whether or not you believe that she's crossed the line from just criticisms of Israel to being anti-Semitic. Let's go on, shall we?
This embarrassing fucking cringe struggle session that Zohran Mamdani had with Reverend Al Sharpton. Before we get to this cringe bullshit clip in which Reverend Al Sharpton takes like a fucking minute and a half.
Oh, there's lots of wordy dirds in this video, because, while I like to use some dirty words and some bad words and naughty words to sprinkle some flavor amongst it, this is just like pouring a whole packet of curse of the week or whatever, just on it. We'll see. So, but again, that doesn't necessarily add or take away from whatever it is she's saying, but, we're going to get to my criticisms of what actually is being said in a few minutes. Let's continue.
To set up this struggle session, let me address Zohran, okay? In case you just happen to see this, Zohran Mamdani. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck? Do you think we're stupid? Do you think we're stupid? First of all, There are more.
He may not think that, you're stupid, but this video, this video makes me, think that you may very well be. But anyway, let's continue.
Do you think we're stupid? Do you think we're stupid? First of all, there are more than just Jewish New Yorkers that live here, okay?
I mean, that's pretty much, I could just stop there. There are more than just Jewish New Yorkers. That's her point. Not more than just Zionists, but more than just Jewish New Yorkers. Because again, when Sharpton ineloquently gets to the point where he talks about this phrase of globalize the Intifada, and I said from a while ago when he first got the nomination that, while I may have problems with his use of those words, globalized intifada, I felt that he would be the type of person that you could talk to, that a Jewish citizen of New York could sit down and have a conversation with him and say, this is why we as Jews believe that those words are hurtful, they're harmful, they help to perpetuate anti-Semitism, they're going to put us more at risk by you using those words. And I thought that of all of the candidates out there, that, he had the best platform, A, for the people of New York, and B, that I think that he would be likely to listen to people when it comes to them talking about their marginalization and their oppression. And this is why this is important, because there are people out there who think that Jewish people, or act, I don't know if they think that way, but they act that way, that Jewish people are the only ones who are not allowed to talk about our marginalization and our oppression. That somehow, if we bring up words that are harmful to us, we have to talk to other people about it? No. Generally speaking, if a marginalized and oppressed person is talking about an issue pertaining to their marginalization or oppression, if they're talking about bigoted words that harm them, you listen to them and you help amplify their voices if you're not part of that group. Let's continue.
And others have given you a lot of grace because we know that these people are deranged and they've been witch hunting you about this for fucking months. But my patience is...
Witch hunting, yes. Witch hunting you about using words that Jewish people feel are insensitive and that we would like for him to change.
Fixing to run out, especially since we already have a bunch of deranged Zionists running in this race, and Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo. We don't.
Okay, deranged Zionists. Fine, I have no problem with you talking about deranged Zionists, but I do have a problem with you bringing up the fact that you're representing more than just Jews, because Jews are not a universal group of people who believe the same thing about all things. There are Jews who agree that what Netanyahu's doing over there in Gaza are war crimes, that he's promoting ethnic cleansing, that, he should be drugged in front of the Hague. And there are other Jews who are going to be like, oh, it's fine. Jews who haven't learned about their history. But you're treating us Jews as all one, but by him wanting to, talk about the whole globalized the Intifada thing, which still haven't even gotten there yet, that he somehow is pandering to the Jews, which is somehow negative. Which again, just regurgitates old tropes about, the power we influence, this, that, the other. No, just stop it. If you want to, there are people who are Jewish who don't think that even talking about Zionism is okay. I'm not one of those types. There are many definitions of Zionism too that, it really depends on who you talk to. If you talk to Netanyahu and ask Netanyahu what my stance is, once he figured it out, he would say he's not a Zionist. If you talk to Hamas and say, oh, this is liberal dance stance, they would call me a Zionist. So Zionist has almost lost a whole bunch of meaning if you're not actually coming from Jewish people talking about Zionism. And even then, you probably have multiple definitions of what one is. But let's continue.
Need you to repeat their fucking bullshit propaganda. You partially won because people like that you didn't capitulate to their bullying. But it looks like you are now. This fucking bullshit answer sounded like a scumbag politician. Sounds to me like you're...
I mean, he's a politician. He's running for office against other scumbag politicians. Right? Say, I don't even understand obsession with using Zionism as a sort of Zoran said he believes that Israel should exist as a safe haven for Jewish people. Isn't that Zionism? Well, according to some people, yes, but according to other people, no. Because again, the word Zionist shifts from here to there and everywhere. Let's continue.
Throw throwing Palestinians under the fucking bus and those of us who want to free Palestine. This is ridiculous. Either you've already sold out and you haven't even won yet, or you're allowing them to bully you into saying this. Either way, it's not a good fucking look.
Has said and been involved in things that I've later said was misunderstood, and some things that I regretted. Mrs. Correct.
And this is, and Al Sharpton is perfect. There were times when Al Sharpton says things and I'm just like, Al Sharpton referred to the people, I think, in Hymietown or whatever, i.e. about Jewish people. And he regretted those statements, right? And he should have regretted those statements because those statements were terrible. But he admitted to it, and he's apologized for it, and he now sees the error in his ways. What better person to talk to Mamdani about his use of language than from somebody who had a problem with the use of language, specifically as it pertains to Jewish people. Let's continue.
Scott King told me you got to watch language, got to watch what you say. Now, let's talk about anti-Semitism.
Let's not, because that's all you guys want to talk about.
Let's talk about antisemitism. Let's not. Again, strike two against this individual, saying not saying Zionists, but Jews, and saying you're not just representing the Jews. No, but you should take into consideration, how you're treating the Jews, if they're one of your, many different groups that you're going to represent and you're going to lead as mayor of the city. But let's not talk about anti-Semitism. Let's bury our heads in the sand. Let's not talk about it at all. Again, this is why the leftists are getting called out for being anti-Semitic, because they don't even want to look at anti-Semitism. They can't even fathom a world. They cannot fathom a frickin' world. Let me put this, maybe this needs to go up. These leftists cannot fathom a world where you're both making sure that you're not being anti-Semitic and you're making sure that the Palestinian people are protected, safe, and free from the aggressions of the Israeli government. God forbid that we do both. We can walk and chew frickin' gum at the same damn time. We can make sure that we speak up for the oppressed people who are Palestinians living in Gaza, who are being treated like other garbage, and also make sure that we're not doing it in a way that's harmful to the Jewish people. But not to this creator. This creator, oh no, it's terrible. We can't do both because somehow that makes us horrible people. Right? Let's continue.
Did you guys know that there are over 800 different languages spoken in New York? New York.
So what? What the fuck difference does that make? And if you're talking about, people who speak Arabic, and if there are people doing things that are harmful to Arabic people, like let's say one of the other candidates was saying terms that would be considered as slurs to people who are of Muslim descent, who speak Arabic, etc., then you should be able to bring that up, and you should be listening to Muslim people, to people who speak Arabic or whatever. You should be listening to them when they tell you that the words being used are harmful to them, incite violence against them, and make it so that they're less safe in the community. And the same thing should go for any marginalized and oppressed person, even Jews.
New York City is the most diverse city in the world,
and it includes Jews, and it's good on him for taking into consideration the Jewish people who live in the city that he wants to be mayor of.
For some reason, anti-Semitism is the only thing they want to talk about.
That is absolutely not fucking true. But when you bring up anti-Semitism, when you're using terms that Jewish people feel are anti-Semitic, then yes, we're going to talk about it. Hey, Rose.
City is the home of the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. The mayor must build a relationship, whoever the mayor becomes, trust in all communities of the city. The term globalize the...
all communities. Not just the Jewish community, but all communities.
Intifada has become a flashpoint for Jewish New Yorkers who say they're concerned about how your views on the Israeli-Gaza conflict will influence how you govern the city. You said on Meet the Press in July, that's not language you would use, but you don't want to police the speech of others. But we both know words matter. The Department of Defense means something different than the Department of War. I've experienced this throughout my own civil rights career.
And she's sitting there like all confused, like, what? What? He's using another set of words to make a rhetorical point, you dumbass. Again, this is why leftists lose, because they can't even grasp this certain thing. And look, I'm a leftist. I want Medicare for all. I want universal basic income. I want rent reform at the very least. Landlords are scumbags. I agree with almost every policy position on the left, if not every one of them. I'm just unwilling to be an idiotic douchebag who cuts my nose off to spite my face, who lets the perfect be the enemy of the good, and and I'm not willing to let my vote be used to allow Donald Trump to become president. And I wasn't going to, and I'm never gonna. But these people, the insane radical left who just can't shift away from anything, who can't, if you're not 100% ideologically pure, you're somehow to be shunned. And they were loving Mamdani up until he had the idea of, oh, maybe we should listen to Jewish people too. Terrible. Just terrible.
I had to correct myself to deal with what people receive may
Get
not
to
be
the
what
point.
I meant.
How long is this struggle session going to go?
I don't know, maybe because he's trying to use several examples to make the rhetorical points, because there are simpletons who just can't seem to understand it by just saying, hey, Jewish people believe that these words are harmful. What do you say about that? Because goddamn, we talk about the Jews, right?
In our own positions to build unity.
Intifada. So when white people were doing the All Lives...
I mean, intifada is funny. I mean, you'd think he'd be in the news long enough where he could say intifada, but still, that was kind of funny. But anyway, let's go on.
Matter routine, were you capitulating to their framing? A lot of white people found the phrase Black Lives Matter to be very offensive. Did you...
Third strike. A lot of white people thought Black Lives Matter was offensive. What is she doing here? A, she's just doing here what she was criticizing Al Sharpton of doing, just 2 seconds ago, in using another set of words to make a rhetorical point. But this rhetorical point is bullshit. Why? Because white people are not marginalized and oppressed because of their whiteness. And as such, when they spoke out against BLM, it was because they were defending racist, murdering cops. They were defending the police officers who were murdering black people like George Floyd on the damn street. The All Lives Matter crowd were trying to trample over the legitimate concerns of the Black Lives Matter crowd for bringing up how policing that is done in this country disproportionately harms black and brown people. White people are not an oppressed group. Jewish people, on the other hand, are an oppressed group. We are a minority. We are marginalized. And we have been for the duration of our freaking existence. So yes, we get to say that when the people who are privileged are speaking down to us and saying, no, you can't be like, no, we get to say what is considered offensive, what is considered a slur. We get to police that. Y'all don't get to police that. Just like, again, I as a white person, I don't get to police what is said about, by black people as to whether or not, their certain actions are racist or not. As a man, I don't get to dictate what's sexist against women or not. I have to listen to what women's experiences are, understand them, and, try and amplify their voices. That doesn't mean I have to agree with everybody 100% of the time, but it's not my position. It's not my place as a white man to tell black people how to feel about issues pertaining to their marginalization and their oppression. It's not my position as a man to tell women how they should feel about issues pertaining to their marginalization and their oppression. And it's not y'all's position, it's not your position as people who are not Jewish to tell Jewish people how we're supposed to feel about our marginalization and oppression. But it seems to me like this person doesn't seem to think that we're marginalized and oppressed at all, because she's making the comparison to the white people complaining about BLM. Let's continue.
Consult with white people and then change your language because of its impact?
Has your personal views on the phrase of
Finally
changed since you've been running for mayor? Do you understand those that see it in a more threatening way than saying, I'm just not going to police other people's language?
This
yes,
is so
they have.
embarrassing.
And when we won the primary election, I said on that stage that I know that millions of New Yorkers care deeply about what happens in Israel and Palestine, and I'm one of those New Yorkers. And I commit to reaching even further to understand disagreement, to wrestle with the complexities of those differing viewpoints. Because what this city deserves is a mayor that looks not only to represent the close to 600,000 New Yorkers that voted for me, but rather the 8.5 million people that call this city home.
Yes, complexities, because issues are sometimes more complex than what the simple-minded fools believe them to be. And if you don't think that these issues pertaining to what's going on in Israel and Gaza are not, you know, they're not underlying complexities under that, you're an idiot.
And in the meetings that I've had since that moment, I've met with Jewish elected officials, with rabbis, with community leaders.
Are we
and there was
talk
one
about
rabbi
them?
that spoke to me about how that phrase, for her, brought back
Or
memories of bus vomits in Haifa, restaurant attacks in Jerusalem. And I knew that from what she was saying.
Or are we going to keep talking about Jewish feelings? Again, anti-Semitic bullshit. Because you're unwilling to listen to Jewish people about their oppression and their marginalization. And when you do that, maybe I'll be a hypocrite here now, but I will absolutely gatekeep you as a leftist at this point. Because if you're making an exception on which marginalized and oppressed people can talk about their marginalization and oppression, and you're going to say, well, these people can do it and these people do it, but not the Jews, no, you're a freaking hypocrite. And I'm going to question your leftist bona fides because you're being exactly what you're not supposed to be.
Sharing with me that she had a fear, as she said, that could come home to New York City. And so in having that conversation with her, I knew that the gap between the intent that I have heard some New Yorkers share with the use of that language of calling for the end of the Israeli occupation of Palestinian land was disconnected from the impact it was having in that same conversation I was having with that rabbi. And so I have said, after having that conversation, that this is language I would discourage.
And Zoran, what the fuck?
He talked to somebody, he listened to them, and he changed his worldview. That's what we should be applauding. That's not what we should be condemning. That makes him a better person than he was weeks ago. And that we should all be striving to be better people than we were days, weeks, months, years ago. I know I try and be, but maybe this person thinks that they're perfect already and therefore there's no reason to change. No reason to listen to, you know, the Jews, right?
What the fuck was that answer? What the fuck was that bullshit answer?
It wasn't bullshit.
You just meet with J Street? Is that what the fuck this is?
Oh, you must have met with the rich Jews, and therefore that's why you want to worry about the Jews that you're going to represent. Again, this is why people are calling the leftists anti-Semitic, because they say this sort of bullshit.
For these liberal fucking Zionist talking points? What about what Palestinians think? Did you consult with them? Did you ask?
Why should Palestinians be asked about terms that refer to the oppression of Jewish people, the marginalization of Jewish people? Again, I'll make that same damn point over and over and over again. Why do you wouldn't tell black people, well, why didn't you talk to the Hispanic people about how they might think about this thing that affects black people and black culture? Why aren't you talking to the men about how these words, sexist words about women, about how they affect them? Because doesn't matter. Because these words don't affect men because they're sexist against women. They don't affect Hispanic people typically because they're racist words against black people. You can have multiple marginalized and oppressed people who can be affected by an issue, and again, you don't have to advocate for one by being a shithead about the other.
Ask them how it made them feel? Have you thought about taking a break from your Zionist talking point tour and listening to how the Palestinians feel about the phrase? How fucking stupid do you...
Yes, let's listen to I mean, I guess I would use her tactics. Let's listen to a Klan person about how they understand or how they speak about the N-word. How they feel about you telling them that they can't use the N-word. Like, yeah, clearly. Klans people, not marginalized and oppressed. Palestinian people, absolutely marginalized and oppressed. So it's clearly not a perfect analogy, but I'm just using from her playbook at this point because that's what she likes to do, right?
You think we are? How fucking stupid. Also,
I think you're pretty darn stupid at this point because, you know, there's been 4 times now where I've been to point out where in your video, you're an anti-Semite or you're being anti-Semitic. And if you were like Mamdani, you'd listen and you'd change, but you're not gonna.
Complexities, you're really doing the complexity bullshit right now? What a fucking cop-out. Except it's not complex. And you know it's not complex. So there's only...
It's not complex that, yes, Israel's committing war crimes in Gaza. That's not complex. But apparently it's very complex for the people who are trying to criticize the actions of Israel who are not Jewish to actually make a point that is not anti-Semitic. Because you've done it 4 times in this damn video that's 5 minutes long. 42 seconds.
2 reasons why you'd be doing this. Either one, you're selling out.
Yeah, big hook. Probably a Jill Stein voter. I guarantee you that if we went down the rabbit hole and found who she supported, who she voted for, she absolutely voted for Jill Stein and doesn't understand the privilege that comes. She probably lives in a blue state where she's less likely to be affected by the policies and the harms that are going to be done by Trump, putting many other people at risk because she couldn't vote for Vice President Harris because Vice President Harris wasn't perfect on Israel in her mind, despite the fact that she would have been miles better for the Palestinian people than Donald Trump is.
Like all lawmakers before you so that you can appease the Zionists and get power. Or you're afraid and they're intimidating you and you're allowing them to cow you. Regardless of what the reason.
And maybe just because she's not even... This is another problem with some of these rabid, virile... I don't know, viral's not a good word. Rabid leftist folks who, you know, they don't even consider the most easy, simplest answer is... He listened to people and he changed his opinion based on hearing new evidence. It's as simple as that.
Reason is, you don't look like a leader. Leaders don't do this shit. And if you're not ready to take the hate that you had to have known with...
So let's say she lives in New York City. Let's say she lives in New York City. She's now not going to vote for Mamdani and make it easier for Eric Adams to win. Going to make it easier for Cuomo to win. Make it easier for frickin' Sliwa to win. That's what you're going to do? That's what you think is better for the citizens of New York City? Allowing one of those 3 scumbags to win the election? Fuck off.
Was coming. And the crazy opposition that you knew you were going to face from big corporations, the billionaires, and the Zionists, then why should I or any other New Yorker have any fucking confidence?
I guess she is a New Yorker. There you go. Proof and point. I didn't actually watch this whole video because I was like, I need to watch this. Whatever. There you go. She is not... She is a New Yorker. She feels safe and coddled in her blue state, in the blue city, and is unwilling to realize how her actions have harmed many marginalized and oppressed people. I mean, granted, the fact that she lived in New York means that if she voted for Jill Stein, it really didn't frickin' matter because Jill Stein was never going to win New York and Trump was never going to win New York. But still, her arguments affect other people in states that would have flipped the election potentially. And because someone's not perfect, they're now the enemy. And now they're more the enemy. Now Mamdani has become more of an enemy than Adams, more of an enemy than Cuomo, more of an enemy than Sliwa or whatever his name is. Are you fucking kidding me?
You're going to stand up for our interests. And you know what? For the most part, I've been putting the blame on the politicians and the media because they are the ones that are not letting this die. At one point, Al Sharpton's like, people are very concerned about it. It's become a thing. No, they're not. People...
Jewish, maybe most of the people are not, but Jewish people are. And he's trying to be the mayor of a lot of people in New York, many of whom are Jews. So maybe he just want to be more, sympathetic to the people. I'm sure he hasn't given up on the people of Palestine. If he did, then I would absolutely call him out on it. But these people jump to these points that are just illogical.
People aren't concerned about it. It's you ghouls in the media and our political class. So mostly I've been putting on that. But you know what? Your answer is fucking bullshit. It's bullshit and you fucking know it's bullshit and it's utterly unacceptable.
If it's bullshit and you know it, clap your hands.
Unacceptable. If you think that you're going to start doing this fucking J Street style liberal Zionist fucking horseshit in which we censor Jewish feelings.
J Street. I mean, she might as well just start throwing around the K word at this point.
All the time. Because we're not having any conversations about censoring Muslim and Arab feelings despite the fact that hate crimes are up against them. But
of course we are. Do you think Mamdani's not going to sit here and try and worry about the harm that's happening to Palestinian folks, to Muslim folks? It's such bullshit. But they get so high and mighty over... I'm dealing with the same thing with Taylor Lorenz bullshit on some idiot on frickin' Blue Sky is like insisting that I must be a corporatist and pro-dark money because all I want to see is proof of what they're claiming is happening. And not just proof that it's dark money. We know it's dark money. But proof that the people who are like creators, who are content creators on on, who are also part of this chorus program, that they're somehow precluded from making certain content. And while some creator did say, yes, they are, the lawyer said, no, we're not. So the onus of the responsibility of proving a claim is the person making the claim. So if Lorenz wants to say that these things are happening, show me the money. Show me the proof. Show me the evidence that you're using to reach these conclusions. And because I dare want to see the evidence before reaching a conclusion myself, I'm somehow a corporatist, because I'm not willing to go from this is a dark money group, and maybe this could happen, to this is a dark money group, and this is absolutely happening because we don't trust dark money groups, so we're going to assume the worst about every single person who's taking money from a dark money group, even though there are dark money groups that are fighting for important causes because dark money is a thing, and if you don't give up a tool because you don't think it's a kosher tool to use. So therefore, NAACP, dark money group. Abortion rights activism, dark money group. Muslim rights activists, dark money groups. And here's the thing, you might think this is irrelevant, but the same people who are backing the Taylor Lorenz side of the article are the same people who are going to be making these types of arguments, because they're centering their whole argument about the Taylor Lorenz chorus thing about whether or not these creators have made any content criticizing Israel. And when they're shown that there are creators who are part of the chorus program who are criticizing Israel, they're like, oh, well, they don't count. It's the other people who do count, because they move the goalposts, because they don't want to admit that they were ever wrong. It's like they call the centrist Democrats blue MAGA. They're the blue MAGA. They are the people. I don't know if coloring them blue is the right color, because they don't vote Democrat and blue is the Democratic color, but they're the blue MAGA. They're the ones who are helping Donald Trump and conservatives win elections with their ridiculous purity bullshit.
Instead of standing by what the fuck you originally said and all of us had your back, you decided you were going to do this shit. And no, I won't be.
Maybe you should think about why he changed his mind, and maybe you'd have our backs too. But just because I know I don't have your back because you're clearly being anti-Semitic, I'm still going to have the backs of the Palestinian people, because they all need our backs. They all need us to have their backs. Let's continue.
Letting this go, because even though as a New Yorker, my focus is on the fact that I can't afford fucking food or rent, and I would like for that to be the main focus, but you know what? Your answer in this kind of fucking capitulation tells me what the fuck.
One answer in one part of one interview completely ruins everything else he stands for, right? This is why the purity politics of the left sucks. And I say this as a leftist. Bite me.
Type of time you're on. When are you going to meet with Palestinian Arabs and how they feel? Because you keep talking about how you're meeting with rabbis.
And I'm sure he does, and I'm sure he has, and I'm sure he will continue to talk about them with the issue when the issues are dealing with issues pertaining to their marginalization and their oppression. But the fact that he dared talk to a Jew, horrible.
And talking about how it feels for them and how it makes them feel. I haven't heard you say anything recently about meeting with Muslims and Arabs and how they feel about that saying.
Oh no, but why are you asking Muslims how they feel about a saying that is anti-Semitic? Again, that makes you anti-Semitic because you think that we should defer to the feelings of Muslims about issues pertaining to our marginalization and oppression. Muslims are marginalized and oppressed too. And when there's an issue that deals with their marginalization and oppression, we should defer to them. But when it's our marginalization and oppression, goddamn us. Jesus.
Where you be? And who is this for? Because no matter how much you try to fucking capitulate to them, it's never going to be enough. They're always going to hate you. They're going to try to destroy you no matter what. So maybe you should focus on the people.
So don't do the right thing because some people might try and destroy you because they don't like who you are. Right? That's the point you're trying to make? That's not the flex that you want to make with this one. F off. Seriously.